Hi, and welcome to Mystic Muses Play D&D.
A storytelling podcast where an all-queer table of all Femme players
and our amazing non-binary DM
tell stories set in the Homebrew world of perdition,
with hopes of venturing out into a realm filled with mystery, magic, and mirth.
You haven't met our characters yet,
but you will.
Because when impossible acts of magic have shunted the world into chaos,
A cleric, a ranger, a sorcerer, and a druid. 4 unlikely heroes will find themselves fighting to restore the balance.
But before our journey begins, we'd like to thank the wonderful Sirenscape for allowing us to use their revolutionary sound app, giving this podcast epic sounds and great ambient music for this adventure. We'd also like to thank composers Derek and Brandon Fletcher and the kind folks at Tabletop RPG Music for allowing us to use their sweet dulcet melodies in our game.
so now,
Our story can begin.
this figure is frantically scrambling around the mud.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to approach just yet. I just kind of want to at least observe and see if the movements match up with any other beings that I have encountered in prior trips. So do I need to make a roll for that?
You do, I'm just deciding what flavor.
What flavor of roll do I need?
Roll perception.
Spicy.
Tasty. That's one of my good ones. Ooh. So a natural 19
Scrumptious.
plus 5, 24.
Ooh.
I got good eyes.
Most of the time, when you observe the undead humanoid-shaped creatures that walk around the marsh, they are very sort of like absent-minded and shambling. The only time they move with this kind of fervor is when they're eating something or chasing something to eat it. So the fact that this one's not eating mushrooms, or not eating the mushrooms that they're picking, and is like compass mentis, like writing down things in a notebook and sort of leafing through a notebook, means that they're probably alive.
Okay.
Okay.
They're not dead. They're not the usual creatures that reside here.
That means we're safe.
So as you like pluck this one mushroom and sort of like wipe the mud off the top, you see this, it's got this gorgeous like deep green color with like hundreds of little yellow spots. And as you start to like examine it a little closer, you hear like very hushed chatter and the snap of a twig off to your distance, as though something is off to the distance, but they have the mental wherewithal to like stop and talk, as opposed to the undead that populate this swamp that would have just like rushed at you to eat you because you look alive. So some ones are over there.
So I'm gonna whip my head round and try and see. Can I see anything yet, or it's just the sound currently?
The sound is through the gap. You guys are sort of hanging back. If you want to make yourself visible, you are visible. If you do not want to be visible, everybody roll stealth.
you feel Elderwood making himself apparent in your mind, and
Do you think this is safe? I'm trusting your guidance. You've been here before.
Actually, with a perception roll that good, you'd see the outline of at least 2 figures in the gaps of the trees, maybe 15 feet away from you.
Spicy. I'm just gonna watch.
He looks at me.
Look at him. He looks at me.
I feel like we've made eye contact at this point.
Here we go with a healthy dose of prolonged eye contact.
Prolonged eye contact.
Anyway, the staring contest through the swamp full of mushrooms and zombies.
just gonna follow your gaze towards this new individual.
Try to make contact.
Yes, I will attempt to make contact with this individual.
So the way you make contact is like there's some sort of strange force that like permeates through their mind, right? For the first time at least?
Well, yeah, it's like the feeling of something crawling under their skin, or something that seems irritable at first, but then you get used to it.
So the sensation in your mind as this one figure sort of looks at you through the gaps in the trees, you see this thick mushroom with a fairly bulbous sort of cap to it. As you look deeper into it, it pops, and a sea of deep black spores sort of permeate through you and burrow their way behind your senses. And then a voice not familiar to you sort of emanates in the back of your mind.
Friend or foe?
Depends on your intentions.
We're merely here for research purposes. And yourself?
Similar. I'm here for research. And I would say, please don't step on the fungus.
And Lord Elderwood would kind of look down at the fungi.
Are we stepping on the fungus?
You're not currently. It's like a reverse gross coral reef over there. There's like little pockets of like various caps.
Would you have responded out loud, or also?
Or did you think your answers back to the voice?
I think I would have just spoken it. Yeah.
One-sided conversation, baby.
Yay!
Because I don't understand that stuff. The words.
I feel like Sven would actually end up accidentally stepping.
We'll get to that.
Would I know that you're doing your thing?
Yeah, and you can kind of tell when Lord Elderwood's eyes kind of grow ever so slightly duller.
Okay, so a slightly less vivid shade of blue. Okay. Someone turn the saturation down.
Like it's out of focus on a bad camera.
Okay, I'll approach.
Roll flat dexterity.
Okay. 14.
So you step out into this clearing and you sort of like electric slide like you're in Dune to try and like step over and around various little pockets of mushroom caps until eventually you approach this figure. You've seen some Dragonborn here and there, not very often. I think the most you'd have talked to may have been All-Father Rethukash. He's the local priest at the Temple to the Platinum Dragon.
And would I know that there are like living people out here, or is this new?
The extent of people that are going out here, as far as you know, are researchers going for very short missions, other people from the Temple to the Grey Lady, or dumb adventurers with a death wish.
How long have you been out here?
I'd say maybe 4 hours, give or take.
Okay. And you're aware of the nature of this marsh?
Yes, of course. But I'm here for research. I am currently looking into fungal colonies and their mycelium networks, and this is the prime spot, which is why I said, please don't step on the fungus.
So the two of you, Moritas and Sven, are observing this conversation from the gaps in the trees.
Lord Elderwood will approach.
Roll flat dexterity.
The dice want what the dice want.
Do I need to bring out the dice jail?
I think it's just because I don't have dice for him yet. They're just all misbehaving. 3.
So you step out with a lot of care and confidence, and as you get to within 5 feet of the conversation, you just hear a very loud wet as a particularly big cap sort of like smears under your what was once very nice boot.
Sorry. That's amazing.
His expression is typically very emotionless, but he does give you a sympathetic look, and just his voice in your head again. I'm so sorry. That wasn't my intention.
I accept your apology.
Clumsy.
Clearly.
It's their first time out here. Okay, Sven gets kind of excited to make a new friend.
You can say goodbye to them fungi.
Go big golden retriever energy.
You're excited to go out and meet this friend?
Kind of. This is when I roll a natural 20 and he walks and avoids every single fucking fungus. But anyway, he gets very excited and he walks towards you and he's like, lovely to meet you, my name's Sven.
Yeah, because you're excited and you rush out there, roll the dexterity with disadvantage. So roll it twice. Twice, take the low roll.
Oh, 16.
Yeah, so you roll it twice and you take whatever the low number is. So you, Inoki, see this lumbering figure, this immense Goliath, sort of stride up behind the two new strangers. And you see his form all of a sudden like go up to you and say, hi, it's Sven. And then shrinks a foot as a particularly huge cap just sort of bursts under his immense frame.
The coral's tooth? Oh, not the puffball.
Yeah, like various little spores are sort of like making a little cloud by his knees.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so I really didn't mean to. I'm really, really sorry.
Inoki, as you look down, as the spores are slowly starting to collect and gather up, you see a jar on his belt and a jar with a little red and yellow fish in it. And the fish is sort of like bumping up against the side of the glass because it thinks that it's little pellets of fish food that it's trying to eat out of the air.
Aww. So cute. Such a little guy. Can't believe conversation I had.
I can't wait for you to have a conversation with Marvin.
Oh, like an actual real conversation.
There's a spell called Speak with Animals. Let's go with that.
You have a fishy?
Oh yeah, he's my best friend. His name is Marvin Salmon.
Salmon. Interesting. Clearly a salmon.
Spend roll insight.
Oh god. -1, so 9.
I mean, like, you feel bad for crushing this new stranger's mushroom, but like the wonderment in these like reptilian eyes at the fish who they say must be a salmon. Just like, wow, this person seems really cool. I love this.
Thank you. Do you want to say hello to him?
I would love to.
So he just picks the jar and hands it over to her.
Hi, Marvin. You're cute.
Yep. So you stare into the yellow eyes, and like various bubbles sort of emerge out as he sort of like swishes side to side in the water.
How long have you been traveling companions?
About 8 months.
And what brings you all into the forest today?
You feel his voice creep in again. I'm here on research on behalf of my wife. So
What's with this voice thing, by the way? Because I can hear you in my mind.
yes,
And I need to ask.
yes, just yes. It's how I communicate. Would you prefer I not speak with you?
Not at all. I'm just curious if you have the capacity to verbally speak, or is this
This is my only form of communication.
fascinating?
Can I get Marvin back?
You're still holding the jar with the fish in it.
Oh,
Say
sure.
no.
Sorry.
Say no.
No, this is my fish now.
The first beef of the campaign is you stealing a fish. Yes, I can give you warning the next time I get into your head.
Okay. Might just take some getting used to, I suppose.
Yes. Does this individual's frequency feel different? More so than other people?
There's an aloofness that gives you a lot of calm and peace, but the intelligence and the drive behind them is almost sharp. They're like the perfect lemon dessert.
Okay.
Hmm.
I don't like that. I don't like
That
that.
is one good way of describing someone. Yeah.
Fucking hate that.
You were also lemon talk this summer?
You were that one solitary perfect chip in a steakhouse. Like the seasoning and like the sort of the rub on it is good, but it's like crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside.
Oh, yeah. I love
Yeah.
that chip.
It's a good chip. What about this one?
What does my mind taste like?
What a strange BuzzFeed quiz.
I know.
What does my mind taste like? We'll find out in 20 easy questions. There's a certain like richness there, like a deep like ganache chocolate dessert, but there's almost a somewhat metallic overtaste.
Oh.
I don't like that. I like that even less than the lemon dessert.
It's not off-putting in terms of how it tastes, but yes. Standing in a grove full of mushrooms.
Mushrooms and fungus. But skibidi bop.
How long have you been in this marsh?
About 4.5 hours, give or take. Just
Right,
collating
oh.
information and
Where are you from?
north of here, nowhere nearby.
Do a mental map.
Would you like to roll history?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. You can also roll history if you so wish.
No. I'm bad at that. I only want to roll at the things that I'm good at.
It's a 9.
You know that north past the Blade Point Peak Mountains, there's a big city and a few townships where lots of Dragonborn live, but that's far away and not the lady of the house is concerned, therefore it's not your concern.
Yeah. It's not our concern. All right, well, sounds good. Can you handle yourself in this environment? You seem to know quite a lot, and I'm not experienced in that area.
I see. Well, yes, I am quite experienced in these marshes. I have been here before. This isn't my first trip. So, do you need guidance in terms of what you're looking for?
Werner, over here. We
I'm
haven't
Werner.
introduced. Yeah, we haven't introduced ourselves. Werner, over here, and he's going to pause a little to try and Bluetooth connect with everyone, which leaves a slight delay between each passing message, because technically he can't do that, but he's just rapidly switching channels to make sure that the message gets across so that we can have this conversation easier. This is Werner. Werner has been here before, and we are here to investigate this marsh because of some mage wanting to use it.
There was the city nearby, Borussia.
Mm-hmm.
We recently were under attack by a mage of some kind who referenced something going on here. And part of my order, or part of my duties amongst my order, is to regularly visit these marshes in order to keep the undead in check.
Okay, so keeping the undead in check and also searching for this mage.
It's more to see if
Anything's
changed
Okay.
since my last visit.
And I think it would be very helpful if you came along with us. You could continue your research, perhaps share some of what you found with myself. I may not understand it all, but I am here for research purposes. It could be something that we can discuss as we adventure through these woods together. Marsh.
Well, I suppose that having some friendly travelers to assist and look out whilst I do my research could be kind of handy.
It's probably best to not be out here on your own, at least.
She's still a little bit dubious of them.
We are a motley crew.
Yeah, she's just like looking them up and down like, they seem friendly, but I don't know if I can trust them.
I think the only one that actually seems friendly is Femme.
Yes.
Roll insight.
I'm just a little guy.
That knows the taste of our wine.
Yeah. Sven is like a big fluffy dog, basically.
Natural 20!
Whoa, wow!
+5.
The sincerity of which the voice in the back of your head has conveyed that there's just a lot of curiosity and something sinister going on involving a mage, that seems to be well with all. You're aware of some of the holy symbols and some of the intention behind what this cleric's been saying about like how the undead operate in this township, and the other dude's just like so delightful, like despite being covered in weapons and being jacked, doesn't really want to hurt anybody. So like they're just a little bit underprepared for the landscape, but they don't mean harm.
I'm willing to accompany you on your adventure. I'd be quite interested to find out more about what's going on.
Have you, when was the last time you were here?
Like you sort of mostly just keep to your lessons from the stuffy teachers in the city to the cool teacher in the forest. So maybe a couple months, because you've mostly been sort of keeping to the cool teacher in the forest. So maybe you took some time out. So it's been a few months since you were here last, maybe.
It's been about a couple of months, so...
And is there anything unusual that you've noticed since your last visit?
Well, within the last 4 hours, I would say...
Yeah, it's been particularly quiet of any undead, especially for this part of the area, but you know that they've been sort of, like, clumped together. Roll investigation.
Fuck off!
Did you roll another extra 20?
That dice is my baby! Yeah, 20 again!
Can I borrow it?
No! I don't want your bad juju on my dice. Absolutely not. Get your hands away. So yeah, that's 21.
I can't believe the voice change in, no, I do not want your bad juju in my dice. Yes, and that's a 20.
So with a good roll like that, you remembered when you actually first got to this part of the marsh, and you were sort of drawn by how huge this particular mushroom cap was. Because it was so much bigger, and this area was so much smaller compared to how it was a few months ago, that as you went through the excitement, you realized that a bunch of twigs sort of snapped under you, and you freaked out because there was a pack of at least 3 zombies off to your left. They looked over and regarded you, but they continued trudging north, and as you passed another one a few minutes later, you saw they were all sort of going northeastwards.
So did it seem like they were being drawn towards something?
You know that based on how primal they behave in a place like this, they go towards the first bit of stimulus. And you can corroborate this as well. They're like mindless, driven by like hunger and propagation, and they naturally gather in herds like this, but they sort of wander aimlessly. They're being drawn. They went somewhere in a particular direction despite something very clearly getting their attention.
Right. Okay. So, from my recent experience, I noticed that the undead weren't attracted to me in the way that they should be. Because normally, you know, they would just attack you.
Yeah.
However,
Anything
they were
that's alive, they head straight for.
indeed. But they seemed like they were being drawn towards something. I'm not sure what, but that did seem very unusual.
Does the magic here feel any different, or like any kind of shift in the ley lines? If I could feel that.
In terms of like how like their place feels, mostly what you're getting is like the humidity and the sort of the stuffiness of the tree sort of like making that sort of heavy air around you.
Okay.
Sorry, did we get your name?
Yeah.
No, I didn't share it. My name is Inoki.
Such a cute name.
Thank you.
This is Verna.
Nice to meet
That
you.
is Sven.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Lord Elderwood, but you can refer to me as Moritas if you so wish.
Lovely. Pleasure to meet you all.
Where was the last place you saw the undead heading?
Well, they were kind of northeast traveling. So do you want to try and follow that way and see if we can find them specifically?
I think so. It's troubling that something presumably,
Is drawing them.
yeah,
Hmm.
if they're not acting like they normally are.
Could it be the guy in the eye?
Oh,
Torrance?
Yes, that guy.
Possibly. Torrance is the mage that was giving us trouble.
Right.
I think it's the only lead we have.
That could work.
And considering the timing of everything, I think it's our best theory. So I'm intrigued to see where they're heading.
All right. So, are you finished here?
Let me just pick a few of these. Just maybe give me a few minutes.
Of course.
I'll sort of, while you're doing that, I will just keep an eye.
Yeah, Sven is very like enthusiastically gonna offer to help you. Can I help you?
Maybe not on this occasion. There's a certain
Aw.
technique to plucking them. You need to be quite delicate, and I'm sure
Can I
one day you might do a really good job. But right now, I don't have the time to show you.
Can I look? Would you do it?
Oh, you can watch away, but from a distance? From like 5 feet. Yeah, maybe 8.25 distance feet away, maybe, please. Is that okay? I just
Yeah,
don't
okay, that's
want
fine.
anything
Yeah.
else to get
And then Sven
destroyed.
just steps away to watch from a distance.
Thank you.
But every now and again, he might be leaning forward, and you might remind him again to step back.
The fiery yellow eyes will just like gleam every time you start coming closer. Don't put your bad juju near these mushrooms.
You know, when the character becomes the player.
Yeah. So yeah, for the next few minutes, you puck maybe another 10 or so caps, like between picking and then looking up as Sven just sort of like peers around like the stalk of this one huge mushroom that sort of dominates the clearing, and the sort of goes, oh, and then wanders back away again.
And I will just sort of
Yeah.
make sure that we are undisturbed.
Roll perception.
Oh God.
Can I look for any interesting looking
no.
plant life?
Roll nature.
Oh no.
It's not a 1, but it's not good.
Oh boy.
It's a 10.
There looks to be a figure, maybe 20 or so feet through the gaps in the trees to the north. How's your nature, dude?
Fucking natural 1! I've not rolled above a 10.
I'll get the dice, jail.
Oh, welcome to the team. Can I put mine with yours?
Yeah.
Because at this point, I think it's needed.
Yeah, but now they can conspire against you
No.
if you put them in the same
No,
room.
if you put them in solitary fun, they'll go crazy. They won't be able to reintegrate into society.
That's fair. Oh my god, there's 4 in there already.
But after a few minutes, Inoki finishes picking the mushrooms that she desires and rights herself, and the four of you sort of gather together. You're all pointed out to the strange figure a ways off in the gaps in the trees, and there are plants in this swamp.
I'll pick a random one, yoink it and stuff it in a bag or something.
Cool.
This is fine.
So I guess in terms of the direction Can I clearly remember like what kind of way they were? I know it's like vaguely northeast.
It's coming to a little bit after midday, so the sun's still fairly high up in the sky, so that you can roughly easily gauge which way northeast is, and it's also the direction of the figure that Verna's pointed out to you guys.
Does the figure... We can't really tell what the figure looks like. We just know that there's like a silhouette.
Vaguely humanoid shaped, 25 feet off. A lot of the haze and the heavy humid air is what's sort of obscuring it.
How far away are they?
25 feet.
Oh.
How much is that in meters?
No idea.
Wait, let me...
It's 5 squares away on like a map.
Yeah.
Do we want to communicate with this person? I can reach out.
Sure.
Or at least I can reach out and stay there. You know what it feels like when I'm in your mind, right? So instead of communicating, I can perhaps just burrow myself.
Try and ascertain whether...
Just to stay in their consciousness for whenever we need to perhaps...
Does the figure, like, I know I didn't roll well, but does it look like it's moving or just standing there?
Sort of like almost swaying.
Can I try to discern if they look like they look alive or dead by the way they're moving?
Roll insight.
Not my greatest.
No. It's definitely a figure.
Are you okay? No, I'm not.
Can I use Eyes of the Grave? As an action, you know the location of any undead within 60 feet of you that isn't behind total cover and that isn't protected from divination magic until the end of your next turn.
Yeah, so the figure ahead of you pings, and you get 7 more pings towards the end of your radius in the same direction.
Great. So we're surrounded?
No. They're all clustered up that way.
Can I sense whether or not they are in motion?
The one that's close to you guys is standing still. The pings of 7 turn to 6, and then to 5 as they are going away from you.
Okay, it is undead.
Right.
There were 7 more, but they seem to be following the same pattern as the ones that Inoki saw.
So why is this one stopped?
Whatever is potentially drawing them towards them, maybe this one is slightly out of its reach. Just like
Right.
with me, one by one, they just kind of dropped out of my sight.
Well, Inoki and Verna, you've been in these marshes before, so how should we approach?
Carefully.
Is your aim to destroy these undead that we come across? What are you hoping to do?
I think that is basically what we do.
You try to, yeah.
We do try and eliminate as many as possible. If this one is isolated and hopefully won't draw any further attention, considering all others that I can sense are moving away, like farther than 60 foot away.
I've trained a little.
As you ask about the combat, you notice the giant bow and giant sword on the giant dude's back.
Just a lot of giant things happening
Yeah,
over there.
apparently so. Yeah, I'm big.
Well equipped.
Yeah.
I just look fancy.
Yeah, you do. It's his back.
Yeah, and I also like have some gear. I've got like a shield that's shaped like a crescent moon and a mace that are strapped to my back.
So everyone's equipped apart from me.
Yeah.
So this figure is off in the distance, and you're confident in your abilities to potentially take it down. What do you wish to do?
Slowly approach the figure.
The tree line gets thicker as the mud under you sort of like starts to like stiffen almost because of the nature of like gnarled roots and twisting branches sort of make the ground under you a lot more even. As you eventually get close to it, most of the zombies that sort of form in the marshes these days are fallen adventurers of people who have bitten off more than they can chew. So a lot of them sort of are wearing like usually scraps of armor and like tattered clothes that are just worn down by like time and degradation. This particular zombie is wearing an immaculate tuxedo. As it has been redressed in the past few days. Deep ashy grey skin and sort of standing there side by side. You also notice that there is sort of like a circlet of like silver sort of like around its forehead and the sides of its head, almost like it's been like placed there like a halo almost.
Ellie wants it. Shiny.
As you all get eventually close to it, it's got its back to you. But you see like black jacket, black trousers, tails, and sort of there swaying side to side. At this point, you can just about see like a few more figures trudging their way through the swamp and eventually breaking off in the distance.
Damn, he looks fancy.
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah, like mutters to himself. Yeah.
Has it been more than a minute since I...
Yeah, it's been a couple minutes to walk up to the screen.
Eyes of the Grave would have
Faded.
faded by now.
Faded, but you would have still got the indication as you sort of kept pace. That same 7 figures that were moving away actually peels up to 8, 9, 11, 12 that are all moving away, with this one standing still is getting up close to you guys. As you say, damn, he looks fancy, the zombie starts to slowly turn around, and sure enough, you see the white linen shirt and like a little bow tie that's a little bit tipped to the side. It sort of regards you, and you look at the actual like circlet sort of there, and right in the center above its forehead is a glowing blue gem, the slowly pulsing blue light. It sort of stands there with its like jaw slack and sort of like regards you all.
Okay, this is peculiar. I haven't seen an undead like that before.
Me neither.
Do you know what's that in his forehead?
Do I know what that is in his forehead?
Roll Arcana.
Oh,
Gone.
don't want to roll anymore.
That's
I
tough.
just want to
That's
succeed.
That's how the game goes.
Fuck.
Danielle, what's your int? What's your intelligence? Please tell me we have one smart person on the party.
3.
It's definitely magic, and it looks real shiny.
12.
Okay, that's okay. We have one person with a positive modifier in intelligence.
Can I just do a little head thing?
To the zombie.
Yeah, just to see if there's any intelligence behind those eyes.
Cold, dead eyes.
Cold, dead eyes.
The three of you watch as Moritas sort of like stumbles back a bit, much in the same way as though you walk into a glass surface thinking that there was a door there.
Ow, that's not happened before. Right.
Hey, are you okay?
Yes.
The zombie kneels forward and starts rifling through the dirt by its feet.
He's making a sandcastle.
Pulls out a large, dirty with mud, silver dish with a cloche over it, holds it up under one hand, lifts the cloche away, and there's an immaculate little yellow square of paper on it.
Can I just float that over to us?
The piece of paper slowly floats its way over.
And I'm just gonna, without touching it, have it open.
Yeah, as it floats this way, it naturally sort of unfolds, and you turn it around to eventually read the writing on it. You are cordially invited to the homestead of Milagros for tea and crumpets.
What? Which is miracles in Spanish. Yeah, that is an actual name. Very common.
The more you know.
Well, very common in elder ladies.
Yep, it's a very old lady name.
For tea and crumpets? Yes.
I love crumpets.
Me too. Oh, with butter.
Swimming in it.
Oh.
I'm gonna make a judgment call. You're both saying that IRL and in character.
I hope this is an in-character conversation.
Savory?
Oh, so much better. Put some cheese on top.
Halloumi, spinach, hollandaise sauce.
Oh, you're having great ideas. I like it. Have you tried it with the mushrooms ever?
Oh, yes.
Verna is just looking between this conversation and just...
Don't worry,
So
am I.
any doubt and anger you had about Sven crunching your mushrooms is gone as you talk about salt.
We disconnected. Like, you know my favorite?
What?
Butter, egg, and cheese.
Have you tried salmon poached egg on a crumpet?
But he has a salmon.
Did you just say salmon? Marvin should be looking at with blinking eyes of like, oh shit.
No, he's mostly looking up at you and just like, like head tilt to the side. Yeah. As you're there regarding what seems to be an invitation handed to you by a well-dressed zombie. So with the promise of tea and crumpets and the looming threat of zombies walking off into the distance and a strange invitation handed to your doorstep, we will find out what happens next time on the Mystic Muses.
Hi, guys, and thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you like what you heard here today, be sure to give us a follow on Spotify and hit that notification bell if you'd like updates for when we release episodes every week. This episode wouldn't have been possible without our amazing cast. Maitreya, she, her, playing Sven, he, him. Danielle, she, her, playing Anoki, she, her. Asta, she, her, playing Moritas Elderwood, he, him. Ellie, they, them, playing Verna, they, them. And not to mention our wonderful DM and storyteller, Adam Ray, they, them. If you like what you hear, be sure to check us out also on Twitter and Instagram for updates. See you soon.